Hello.
Hello, everybody.
How's it going?
Good. Happy Leap Day. Kind of crazy.
I know. It's every 7 years. Is that right?
I think so. They were talking about on the radio this morning about everyone that had birthdays today. There's different companies that are doing special things to celebrate them.
As they should.
Yeah,
That's crazy. Okay, awesome. Well, I guess it's noon central, so let's jump in.
sounds
Okay, so this is navigating the new normal, as we're calling it. And it's an important topic because it's been kind of a crazy past year, I think, and start of 2024
good.
for people who are job searching, frustrating, confusing, bizarre. So Katie and I are here today to really share a bit about what we've seen, I think, both on the candidate side as well as the
Mhm.
client and company side, trend-wise, predictions, and share some tips on how to stand out in this crazy market. So I'll introduce myself. I'm Sarah. I've been with Celarity for 2.5 plus going on 3 years, which is wild. And then before that, 10-ish years in kind of career coaching, resume writing, personal branding, all that good stuff. So Katie, tell us about you.
Yes, and my name is Katie Larson. I'm the recruiting manager here at Celarity, and I've been at the company for 9 years this coming summer. So time flies when you're having fun. It's been interesting over the past several years to see the market and all the changes, but we're definitely on a wild ride right now as recruiters. So excited to talk about it today. I know it's a really relevant topic.
Yeah, for sure. So Katie and I are going to kind of ping pong questions back and forth to each other. But to kick it off, Katie, I'm curious what you've been seeing kind of in growing industry buckets the past year-ish.
Yeah, no, great question because we work with a wide variety of industries and sizes of companies here at Celarity. I would say healthcare, we've seen quite a few roles from them on a fairly regular basis. We work with a lot of the bigger medical device companies here in the Twin Cities. So that one probably comes top of mind first and foremost, but also technology, finance and accounting. And then post kind of the COVID world, we've also seen e-commerce, quite a bit of growth there, as well as hospitality. And then roles within that, I would say marketing communications and like project manager roles, those are kind of the bread and butter of what we fill. So we've been seeing a lot more of those. But I'm curious, Sarah, as a recruiter, if you've seen other roles that have become more popular, more on demand as you're recruiting out there.
Yeah, I feel like, and I'm sure you've noticed this too, things kind of ebb and flow. Like we'll have a surge of suddenly there's a need for a lot of graphic designers. But I would
Mhm.
say, sort of taking like a bird's eye view, a lot of digital marketing, obviously, that's a no brainer. And I would say, smaller companies are often looking for people who are more of a generalist in digital marketing because they're able to kind of do the social media, the SEO, the email campaigns, and get a little more, I guess, bang for their buck, I'll say. Large companies, I would say we see more of those specific roles,
Mhm.
just like a social media person. So kind of depends on the company size you're targeting, but definitely digital marketing. I would also say to be more specific, I've seen a lot of analyst roles, influencer marketing, performance or growth marketing,
Yeah.
social media, UX and UI for sure, but definitely you don't see a lot of junior roles. It's hard to kind of get your foot in unless you kind of go in as like a digital designer. But we
Mhm.
definitely are seeing more like mid-career UXy stuff. But
Okay.
but lately, and I say lately in the past like month maybe, I feel like here at Celarity we've had an uptick in specifically paid ads roles, and I don't know if that's a
Yeah.
fluke or
Yep.
just what's happening, but yeah. Anyway, so that's kind of a snapshot of what I've seen. Okay, so other thing I feel like we've had a lot of people asking us about is the length of the interview process. What have you been seeing?
Oh my gosh, yes. I would say, I mean, just with the job market cooling down and just more competition across the board after so many layoffs that happened, I've noticed a longer interview process. So companies are being extra selective, extra cautious, which has drawn out the hiring length. Sometimes it's like 4, 5, 6 interviews with different people, different panels. So part of our job as recruiters is to educate these hiring teams just about the market and to help condense the interview process if possible, just to make it a better candidate experience. But I mean, overall, I've been reading that there's going to be a foreshadow just for slower, steadier growth in the job market moving forward. Outside of the longer interview process, I've also noticed pay. I've been receiving feedback from candidates that salaries that they're seeing are lower. More people are kind of questioning, do you take a pay cut? to make a lateral or even an upward move. So I think the Great Resignation, as it was so popular a couple of years back, everyone was talking about that. But I think that time period's kind of over. So candidates are now learning how to navigate a tougher job market for multiple reasons, whether it be interview length, salary, competition out there. It's definitely interesting times.
Yeah.
I mean, what have you heard from candidates recently about their job search experience?
Yeah, definitely all of that. I think the interview process has been long. I think we've been seeing a lot of roles rolling out and then sort of backstepping, whether that's halting the role, maybe downgrading the role from a senior project manager to just a project manager, budget adjustment. So I've talked to a lot of candidates who've said they keep getting that kind of message, like the role closed, and they feel like they're being lied to. But from our side, that actually is happening a ton. It's not anybody kind of pulling one on you. There's just a lot of companies who realize they don't quite have the budget for it. So definitely frustrating on that front. I also feel like I've seen, because there are a lot of candidates applying, hiring managers are, again, like you said, kind of being slower and more selective, maybe honing in on one specific tool or software or certain certification just to kind of narrow down that pool. Also, certainly less remote roles, as a lot of companies are moving back to hybrid. So if you do need fully remote, you're just going to be competing with more people. Not impossible, just kind of the numbers game of it. So I would also say, I feel like I've been talking to people lately who were unemployed and took a quick job just because they needed to. And it turned out to be, as I call it, a dumpster fire. Because sometimes you just don't know. And so those people are back searching, but nervous to leave, even though they want to leave. So kind of in a tricky spot. Generally, what I tell people is, if you can stay somewhere at least 6 months and kind of write it out, that's going to be better for your resume's sake. But you need to do what you need to do. And I get that. So yeah, definitely a messy experience, I think, for everybody we've been talking to. Okay, so this is a large question. This could take an hour, but what are some great, all-purpose tips that you've got for job seekers kind of going forward in this year?
Yeah, no, I have a few up my sleeve. And we actually have a question too. So, and I would love to make this as interactive as possible. So if there's other people out there, feel free to introduce yourself, shout out your questions. We'd love to chat with you. But it's, why do you think there is a slow tick in junior level job roles versus the mid to senior level job roles?
That's a good question. Well, I think specific to the UX space, that's just always been kind of the norm, is they want people who have experience, and you can't get the experience. It's kind of cyclical. But I feel like, generally speaking, within marketing, I think they're wanting people with a little more experience to be able to kind of do all the things. And so some of those junior roles we just haven't seen as many of, or they're being pickier. I want a college graduate, but I want them to have these, experiences, which can be super tricky.
Yeah, no, I would agree. And especially after we've seen a lot of companies shrink team sizes, they're kind of depending on those senior leaders to roll up their sleeves and also help with the execution, not just with the strategy, but the tactical work too.
Yeah.
So that's been kind of a common theme as we're receiving job descriptions from different clients on potential job opportunities to work on. But tips, I know that's what you had asked about.
Yeah.
First of all, constantly keep skill building, but obviously not blindly. Do your research to see if it's going to help you get to where you want to go, whether it's different informational interviews with others further down the line in your career path, or if you're seeing a certain certification constantly pop up on a job posting or opening. But the biggest thing, I'm sure everyone's heard it before, is keep networking. It's all about who you know, but not just networking, but following up too. I mean, maybe your dream company didn't have a job opening 3 months ago. Maybe they were going through layoffs, but maybe they're at the point now to add to their team. So trying to attend industry-specific events in person if possible. I know that can make a difference, just getting out in front of people. And then also taking a deep dive into your LinkedIn account, looking at your different connections, seeing who's connected to whom and where, spending a lot of time researching what connections you have to the companies that you want to get into, and then let them know that you're applying. I know a lot of people want to give each other favors or help out, especially in this market. So you'd be surprised at how many people want to help out and have your back. And then this is obvious because I'm a recruiter, but connect with us, connect with recruiters out there. I mean, applying online, it can be like a black hole, especially with AI. you don't know if a bot's going to see your resume before it ever gets into a live HR manager. So working with the recruiter, we can help connect the dots behind the scenes just with the different relationships that we have. I know a lot of recruiters also have access to contract roles, which can be an easier way to get your foot in the door. They're not necessarily posted on the company website, but it can be a great way to get your foot in the door, like I said, at a dream company and gain further experience to propel your career forward, especially in a tough market like this. And a lot of times contracts even start as, anywhere from 6 to 18 months. So they can be more stable than one would think right off the bat.
Right. Yeah. I also think too, just being open to talking to recruiters and kind of getting into our databases and our pipelines. We might not have a job for you today, but honestly, we recruit for everything in marketing, and this is totally not a sales pitch, but and so just kind of getting in front of us now. Who knows what could come up next week or a month from now, or when you're job searching a year from now. We're always eager to talk to good people, not just here at Celarity, but other places too. I mean, the more you talk to, the more you get in front of is really going to benefit you for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, overall, on top of connecting with recruiters, I would say be cautious with how you're spending your time. I would actually recommend, and I've heard this from others, spending like 90% of your time, which sounds like a lot, behind the scenes, researching roles, different companies, editing and tweaking your resume, looking for those referrals, and then spending the extra 10% of time actually applying.
Yeah.
And I have a great example. So my husband was recently laid off and on the job market, and he was applying. I mean, he was super motivated right away, applying to jobs left and right on like Indeed, Glassdoor, LinkedIn, just not hearing any responses, was super frustrated. And then he actually ended up receiving a couple offers, and all were through people he knew within his network. I mean, I even posted on LinkedIn, hey, my husband's job searching. People that I've only talked to like once were resharing it for me. It was just crazy and really cool to see. And then the job he ended up accepting was the job was actually still in the process of being posted to the website, but he had a connection of someone who knew the manager there. So he was actually able to kind of cut to the front of the line to interview and get the job before the job was even like formalized on the website for the rest of the world to see. So again, it's being a recruiter, the world gets smaller day by day, and just connections. And I would say that has been the most uplifting thing in this challenging market. It's just seeing everyone want to help each other out. Not to sound cheesy, but it's been encouraging.
No, that's so true. That's a really good example. I mean, your husband is literally like a textbook example of the importance of networking. And I know that we say that till we're blue in the face to anyone job searching, but it really is a better use of your time. And I think it feels good to be applying for jobs online. Like at the end of the day, you can see, oh, I applied to 10 jobs. So it feels productive. But again, you're competing with hundreds, sometimes even thousands of people. So if you can really kind of put on the brakes a little bit and be a little bit more strategic, and it doesn't always mean going to cocktail hours as like old school networking events, though networking events in person are great. Really targeting your network and who knows who, and just being like willing to ask people to recommend you. People are glad to help out in any way, or even just resharing something on LinkedIn. People are super happy to help, not just recruiters.
Yeah, 100% agree with you.
Yeah. Okay. Well, final thoughts, I guess, from me. So a couple things I just wanted to mention, and maybe this goes without saying, but we have seen, I think, over the years that marketing and creative roles are often the first to be let go in companies, which is really frustrating. And so they have been slow to come back. If you're experiencing that, you're not crazy. You're probably doing absolutely nothing wrong. It's not a you thing. It's just sort of the nature of those roles. So I would say roles that focus a little bit more on, I'll say sales, even if they're not sales, like account management or influencer marketing or copywriting, things that are kind of tied to bringing in business or exposure. Those definitely seem to be a little bit more on the rise. And from what we've also heard talking with different hiring managers and clients of ours, it sounds like the prediction, and I say this, I feel like a weather anchor who's like, maybe it'll rain tomorrow. But the prediction is that they're expecting more roles to kind of open up more like Q3 of this year. So usually this first quarter, which ends tomorrow, is really quiet, and it definitely has been extra quiet. But I have a feeling that even Q2 will be a little bit slow, a little bit cautious. Companies are still kind of taking a pause, but it sounds like in the fall, just even generally speaking, nationally, they're expecting things to be a little bit more moving, budgets approved, hiring freezes lifted, that sort of thing. So just wanted to throw that out there. That's just something that we've been hearing and seeing. So Don't be discouraged. We're here to help. You're not doing anything wrong. It's just the nature of the times right now. So keep networking, keep talking to people, keep getting in front of people. You're doing the right thing.
Yeah, no, agreed. And don't hesitate to reach out to either me or Sarah. We'd love to have a conversation, whether it's maybe we have a few potential jobs run by you, or maybe it's just kind of chatting through your resume and the market, or just whatever you have questions about. We'd love to have a one-on-one conversation and follow up with whoever is out there in the LinkedIn world.
Love it. All right. Awesome. Well, thanks everybody for joining us. We will hope to connect with you on LinkedIn later.
Yes, no, this was fun. So thanks for your time, Sarah. Thank you everyone for joining. Happy Leap Day and have a terrific rest of your Thursday.
Bye.